getting your property insurance money. Tyler Lyer from Arrow Service Team is here to explain how they can help every step of the way. Welcome back, Tyler. Always good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So Arrow Service Team is going to take care of people from top to bottom, but we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth. So how do you guide people through the process of handling a claim for when something does happen to their property, and when do they know to call you?
Sure, so good question. The claims handling process has changed a lot over the years,
Okay.
Especially since COVID. Some of this stuff is being done virtually from a desk. Sometimes they're not even sending an insurance adjuster out anymore. Sometimes they'll be working off of like a 3D walkthrough that we have, photographs. So when you have something happen, if it's a major event, obviously you want to make sure everybody's okay first, right? Mm-hmm. And get any officials involved that need to be there. At that point, you want to contact a restorer like Arrow. We'll come out and assess the property and make sure that things are being handled properly. And we're going to ask a lot of questions. When you call in our intake process, we're going to figure out if it's a fire. You may not have power, you might not have electricity, or there might be windows to board up. If it's winter months, we have some extreme cold months here. We're going to do whatever we can to make sure that we can preserve that property so there isn't going to be further issues. So mitigating it's very important.
Sure. So when people give you a call and you start asking those questions, is it helpful for them to have paperwork next to them, such as like, the furnace was replaced in 2019? Are those types of details the stuff that they're going to need right away, or is that kind of later on in the process?
It's usually kind of later on, but understanding the story of what happened, and deductibles have risen dramatically due to build back costs and premiums have gone up. So many times people want to have us come out if it's on a major event where it's an emergency, and we'll come out and just do an inspection, give them an inspection report that we can share with their insurance agent, and they can kind of decide and weigh their options if they want to make a claim. With all this rain, we had a lot of small, minor, like roof leak problems, and a lot of these carriers have gone to either percentage of the home value deductible, or the deductibles have raised from anywhere from, when I started, it was $250 to $500. Now it's $1,000 to up to $20,000.
Wow.
Right? If it's a percentage value of the house, 1 or 2%, and you got a $400,000 house, well, it can get expensive quick.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of smaller claims just go away, and nationally claim volume is down about 15% due to that.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, very interesting. So something happens to your home, let's say it gets struck by lightning, something happens, the windows break. I can imagine as a homeowner, that's probably a pretty overwhelming feeling where, you don't know what to do. So what would you say is the first step for homeowners to take?
So if you have an emergency, you get a hold of a restorer like Arrow. We would dispatch either a mitigation team out there to provide emergency service. After that's taken care of, then we'd assign a project manager who would meet up at the house and basically guide the homeowner through the process, set the expectations, work with the insurance company directly to get everything approved and handled and taken care of. Here you can see a project. This is a large-scale project at a school that had a major fire in it that we're currently working on. So very complicated, and you can see the types of materials and things we're working with and how we're trying to get be efficient and get garbage out of that second story. So, it can be a small $500 roof leak, or it can be a large multi-million-dollar renovation project like something you're seeing here. So here you can see this particular room was cleaned and mitigated so we could store equipment in there where we're going through the process due to storage limitations. So just kind of an example of something that you see us doing at Arrow and working with the insurance company and the client to get people back to pre-loss.
Yeah, and I can imagine after seeing photos like that, it's even more of an incentive to give people like you a call, because that's a lot of people to manage. When you have a lot of, you've got, drywall, ceilings, electrical, all this stuff going on, that's a lot for one person to manage.
Yep. So we ought to take the general contractor and kind of guide people through the process. So all they really got to deal with is either paying their deductible or filing the claim. We can't file a claim for them. They physically have to pick up the phone and call the agent or go online. Nowadays, a lot of it's done online, so they would have to file that claim as well. Yep.
So are there any challenges that homeowners face as these processes are finalizing? Is once you kind of get everything done, is it usually pretty smooth?
So the final punch list would get completed, and then the paperwork would get submitted to the insurance company to get the payments processed. Well, many times if people have a mortgage, it's not that simple, because a lot of times they'll put the mortgage carrier on the check, then it's got to go back to Penny Mac or one of those that it's got to go to, and then they'll send out an inspector before that money gets released due to the size or amount of work that's done on that claim.
Okay, very interesting. Lots of moving parts when disaster strikes, so it's always good to have someone in your corner. If somebody needs to give you a call, where can they reach you?
you can catch us at 223-9249 or check us out online at aeroserviceteam.com.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in again today, Tyler. It's always nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.